Jesus fuck. I don't know what you guys are thinking or expecting.
Welcome to the Fantasy Fair, the what is it? That is right, the most magical podcast on earth. Welcome to another audio commentary. We seem to be pushing out a lot of these days due to certain events that are happening right now, and the restrictions that is put on us. But nevertheless, we have a lot of stuff, and there's the mouse, which we pay heavily, and we pay our tithes.
I think you mean they pay us.
What do you mean they pay us? No, we pay our No. Shh. We pay our due diligence. We go to the Sleeping Beauty castle and we put our money in the basket.
Oh.
Metaphors. But anyway, Moana. I love this movie. God damn it. Like, if Beauty and the Beast wasn't such like a perfect movie, this would be my favorite. I mean, I know we did a Disney princess ranking film list podcast earlier, but if it weren't for Beauty and the Beast being such a resounding perfect film, this would be my number one for many reasons, and I'll get to that when we get to that. We saw this together in the movie theater.
That's right, Kyle Lira. You, Kyle Lira. Hi, I'm Alexis Soto. We did see it together.
Oh, this is Alexis, by the way.
Yeah. It's fine.
Anyway.
No, we saw it together. And it kind of blew us away.
Yeah. Like, I was hoping it would be good, just I didn't know how good it was going to be.
Right.
And it was just like really, really, really good. Extraordinarily good. Like, if there was any movie that resounded like the storytelling styles of the Renaissance, I think this more than any other movie, other than probably Beauty, Princess and the Frog, represents that.
It feels very much like that, and again, it also does help that, like Princess and the Frog, this was directed by John Musker and Ron Clements, who also directed a lot of those Renaissance movies.
God damn! Look at that! Look at Tafiti. Look at the animation on Tafiti. That is incredible.
To me, the thing that, and you're right, the animation overall in this movie is just jaw-dropping, but I'm just amazed how, like, oh my god, look at that fucking water, man. Like, I know that I gush about water just about in every single, like, animated movie, but, like, oh my god, it just looks so real. It feels like you're actually there. And it's not easy to do water in animation, even though it looked this good. It's a lot of money to do water.
Yeah. And also to like give water weight, I think is really difficult to do.
Well, it is a character in the movie.
Because you could easily like make it like, well, for example, when you saw like earlier, there was like the hook and the heart of Tafiti. You could see like there's weight and actual like stuff with the bubbles going around it. There's actual like, I don't know, space and mass with the water. I mean, it's easy to make water look good and clear and look all that stuff, but it's another thing to give it characteristics. I think is a really interesting thing. And we have Jango Fett. Tamara Morrison. I wonder if they were ever to do a Moana TV show. I wonder if they'll get D. Bradley Baker to do the voice.
Clone Wars reference there?
A subtle Clone Wars reference, because D. Bradley Baker voices the clones over Tamara Morrison.
This is one of my favorite scenes right here. I love this.
Yes. This is gorgeous. The little turtle. Like, look at that. That looks like an actual, like, again, the lighting, I think, is something understated because everybody's like, oh, look how crystal clear the water is. But you have to light the scene to make it look like how it does. And the animators in this movie, I can't name them all. If I could, if I knew them all, I would. The resounding good stuff. What was your initial reception after you saw this? And has your thoughts on the movie improved, or has it like kind of aged over time?
I don't know if it's changed that much since I initially saw the film. It kind of does that thing that all Musker and Clemens movies do, in that, like, it's just an instant classic. And I was just so happy to see how the Disney fan community really responded to the movie very well. It's a lot of passion for Moana out there. I don't know. I was really swept away by the movie. I mean, of course, we all know I'm a big fan of the ocean and water. But the story, the animation, the music, to me, it was the best Disney animated movie that since Princess and the Frog, that felt the most like the movies that I grew up with, the Disney Renaissance. It hasn't really changed at all. Like, it's just a great film. Yeah.
That whole sequence, I think, like, that's like an example of like where animation could like excel and, you know, tell its story with its own visual medium. And
I mean, animation lets you do things that you otherwise wouldn't get away with in live action. That's kind of the point in the differences between the mediums of film. This mentality out there that, just because a movie is animated means that it's automatically for kids. That they're just, I mean, it is for kids, but it's like the insinuation that comes from that, from most comments, is that it's only made to be enjoyed for children. But it's just a ridiculous thing to say.
I mean, it's
these
just
stories have so much power.
Yeah, it's just a different way of telling a story, really. This screams Lin-Manuel.
Well, he did write all the music, right?
Yeah. But, like, I don't know, the way he introduces stuff and the way he has, like, turn of phrase. And also,
see, I don't really know his style. So how is it any different than like any of the other like Disney lyricists?
Because he utilizes every bit of what he has. Like, for example, the people speaking in the back, the flow of the song is very different than you would with the Broadway-esque thing. He just utilizes instruments, choir, chorus, and storytelling in such like a sing-songy way. Kind of like what Cameron McIntosh before him did.
I guess my question is, how does that, what you're saying, how is that differed from what Alan Menken does?
That's really difficult because, like, I could pinpoint which is an Alan Menken song and which one is a Lin-Manuel song. It's hard to describe, probably because of the language that he uses. I think, and the way that he tells a story is vastly different than what Alan does.
You just can't describe though how.
Because Alan is very like old traditional Broadway writing versus like
Right.
Lynn, and he's more brought up on like the new wave Broadway writing of like songwriting, and I think you could tell that because it sounds a little modern, but like it has like a traditional sense with it as well. Versus with Alan Menken's writing, it's just all around traditional, and you could feel the classics running through it.
I only
That's a
just
lot.
asked for the comparison because I don't think most people would be able to really tell the difference. I think they just look at it and they're like, "Oh yeah, Disney." That's beautiful.
Um, where do you think Moana stands? Because she is an official Disney princess. Where do you think she stands with the others?
In terms of what?
Um, like in terms of like her staying power, her motives, and all that stuff, and what makes her like a well resounding, well bodied character.
I think she's one of the best, but I think most of them are pretty good. Um,
Okay.
yeah.
Um, a couple of things. Oh, also, I like how she in this right here. She's very hands on, being
Mm-hmm.
a chiefess. I think that's how you say it. Chiefess, chiefess,
Just chief,
chief. Okay,
the village chief.
the village, and then they made me their chief. No, but I like how like hands on she is. I mean, she does. I mean, she is genuinely like taking time and care and all that stuff. Sassy boy.
No, I to me, I think Moana is just a really likable character, and they do a really good job in the film. Um, just showing the conflict is like it does show her that she can be a very competent chief. It's just that the common trope that there are with most Disney princess movies and Disney princesses is that they just want more beyond what their current location is offering them.
Situation, more like.
Yeah, that they're meant for something greater. And it's, as the song will say, calls to them. Um,
But I think here, I know you and I have our differences about. Well, you, the Alexises, and I have our differences on Ariel. Um, I feel, and I know you guys, and I know your reasonings. Um, I I feel like this is a grander cause. I think. I don't know. And Alexis is looking at me like he wants to kill me.
I'm
But
not
good.
looking at you. I'm looking at the movie. Um, I mean, the movie is saying. I mean, yeah, there's a cause to go along with it, but she's always wanted to leave. I mean, yes, she goes off to go find Maui and to save her people and her island, but it would be a lie to suggest that was the only reason why she's leaving. She's always wanted to leave. She's always wanted to be out there. She's always had, a passion for the ocean. And yes, it was like tied up with the ocean having picked her to be the person to go find Maui. But it's to say that she's not getting what she wants by leaving her island and her people isn't part of it. I mean, it's part of it. Yeah, she saves everyone in the process, but it's like, it's not as if what she's doing is entirely selfless. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. To rephrase what I was saying, I think that there's a better cause tied to her wants. Speaking of wants, here's her "I Want" song.
Well, I just don't understand why there has to be a cause. This song isn't about a cause, it's about her, wanting what she wants to do. In many respects, a lot of the Disney princess films, particularly with Little Mermaid and Moana, they're coming of age stories. And I just don't see the distinction that you're making here, where it's like, okay, so Moana's just more likable as a character because her desires are tied in with an actual cause. I mean,
yeah,
I just don't understand why you're still on this like Ariel like hate bandwagon. I don't understand it.
It's not a bandwagon.
It is a bandwagon, and you somehow insist to keep bringing it up. I didn't bring this up, mind you.
I know, but it's like it is a due point, point of contention between us, and I don't know.
Well, I mean, I don't know too. Like, if we're gonna go ahead and, by the way,
okay, yes.
Did you listen to our commentary on Little Mermaid? That's
Not
gonna
yet.
be a no. Okay, so explain. I'll have my say. Go ahead and say what you're gonna say.
It's kind of like me and Captain America.
Oh, yeah, I'm getting a lot of those vibes. I just don't know. I'm
like
getting that.
Like the feelings, like, yeah, but I don't know. Ariel hasn't like redeemed herself in like a character, much like Steve Rogers has.
What has she done that needs to be redeemed? That may be the point of contention here, is that there is this contingent of people who think that she's wronged everything and everyone. She's at fault, and therefore, because she's not punished, she's just an unlikable person. And
okay, I don't think. Okay, I don't think she earned her happy ending. I think Moana earned her happy ending. She reached out to Te Fiti and not Maui, versus you go to Little Mermaid and it was Eric who faced off against Ursula.
Yeah, but if Ariel hadn't come to the rescue, how would have Eric faced off against Ursula in the first place?
Yeah, but
the sea witch controlled Eric, and she was going to basically kill him after they
Eric
were
wouldn't.
married.
Okay, Eric wouldn't be in that mess had Ariel not come along.
Okay, so this is really the heart of it, and I don't understand, because so Ariel should be blamed because she wanted a life, because she wanted the exact same thing that Moana wants right now.
Okay, no, because like her yeah, she wanted to, live a life as a human being, but it was really, a male that broke the camel's back in
If
that in
Alexis
that
Moreno would be here right now, she would kill you where you sit for saying that, because that's literally not the reason why she leaves. She wanted to leave well before Eric was ever in the picture. Eric was the trigger to her act on it. And in fact, it was because what was her father destroyed the grotto? Like, it says in Part of Your World, which is literally right before she meets Eric, that she's always wanted a life beyond the sea. She didn't leave because of a man. She realized that she could have the life she's always wanted
with the
with the
man.
deal. Well, yeah, because the deal was Ursula used the man as her way to trap her in. And the condition of the deal was that if she could get him to fall in love with her in 3 days, and that's not to say that Eric wasn't part of the reason why she did inevitably leave, but it's like this whole idea that the only reason why it is that she took that deal was because she could be with Eric? And even if that was, oh, okay, so apparently there's no such thing as love? Like, are we really gonna fault her for, like, following her heart?
It's superficial. She could be a uh, a self-made woman without the likes of a man.
In theory, any woman can be that, but I don't understand how that's relevant to the story of The Little Mermaid or the character of Ariel. It's not as if she needs a man to be alive. It's that she chooses that that's who she wants in her life, not by necessity. I just like this whole idea of like being so critical of her, it just blows me away because first and foremost, it's an animated movie. It's a Disney princess movie, and to like throw around logical situations at that movie and that character is just unfair, because movies in general are not supposed to be logical. They're supposed to be escapist. I don't understand. Well, at least you explain to me why you feel the need to be critical of Ariel.
Because the reason why is because she set the template of what modern princesses are supposed to be. Like she set the groundworks for what would be the modern Disney princess. And so historically speaking, you can't speak of any other Disney princess after her without mentioning her.
And
What do you mean, and?
I mean, what does that have anything to do with you being critical of her?
I don't know. I don't know. This is therapeutic. I like this.
Uh-huh. I guess all I'm getting is just a bunch of I don't knows.
Maybe you should have invited me on the Little Mermaid audio commentary.
You were not there that night.
The sand, though. That's some good animated sand.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Oh, and we should mention Lin-Manuel Miranda is singing.
Yeah, it's really nice. We skipped a whole entire portion of the movie.
Well, I mean, I wasn't the one that brought up Ariel, and I'm not going to let that go. Because and it would be one thing if I understood what it is that you were saying, but I don't. But we should mention...
You guys are Ariel apologists. Rachel House.
Mm-hmm.
Great. She's great in this movie. How
Far I'll Go, I think, to me, is that sequence, that song, and it's interesting, right? Because I mean, it is the typical want song, and because the reason I asked earlier about to explain the differences between, the works between the likes of Menken and Miranda, because when I hear How Far I'll Go, it's not necessarily that I associate that with Lin-Manuel Miranda's like handiwork. It's more that that was the moment per se that felt most like the Disney Renaissance films, which of course we all know Menken was involved with most of those movies.
Yeah. Again, here's the comparisons. Like it's a I Want song, and like the antithesis and like the beginnings of the Want song is part of your world. I find this movie astrologically inaccurate. There is no star
That's
alignment
shaped like a hook.
That's shaped like a hook.
Liars.
Thank you very much. Liars, fake news, wrong. Cinema sins be like.
Yeah.
The dad's a Republican dad.
You... Okay. I'm not touching that.
Completely defying the laws of science and evidence in front of them. For what reason? I don't know. I don't think their religion is not tied to spirituality. This is a Return of the Jedi. The grandma is gonna tell Moana that she's not the only person, and that there is another Skywalker.
Oh yeah. Did you ever see Lindsay Ellis's video on this?
On Moana?
There was a whole video she did comparing Moana to Pocahontas.
Oh, that one. I haven't seen that in a long time.
Do you remember what it was about?
Yeah, it was Pocahontas is bad. Hot take.
Well, because this is part of the controversy. The fact that this came out in the 2010s. The argument she was making is that Disney still can't claim that Moana is a true, pure authentic representation of Pacific Islanders because it was directed by white men. How do you feel about that?
Again,
it is controversial, by the way, and that's why I'm bringing it up to have that discussion right now.
To me, I think that this is the very Hollywood neoliberal angle that a lot of people go with.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it doesn't matter what race or ethnic background you come from. I think if you're coming at it with the right mind, and I guess if you're coming at it non-cynically, I think you're perfectly okay and more than capable of making a story about different ethnic groups like this, like Musker and Clemens did with Moana. I mean, they clearly loved what they were talking about, the story and the region that they were telling the story with.
And I think people just just to clarify, because I've seen a lot of the behind the scenes featurettes of this movie, Musker and Clements went to the Pacific Islands, and they did a lot of research for this to make it the most authentic that it can be.
Yeah, but then a lot of people are like, again, this is like revisionist history. A lot of people are like clamoring about that when animators went to Africa to like get a thorough, detailed look at the African plains when making The Lion King.
Mm-hmm.
But then all of a sudden they're like, oh, it was just a bunch of white men, appropriating culture,
Okay. Is it fair, though, to have that criticism of Pocahontas, then?
But here's the thing. It's very apologetic for colonialism.
Because the thing with Pocahontas is that, similarly, they did reach out to certain Native American groups. They had some of them in the cast. And they had, I think, a group or so or some high-profile person give a public endorsement of the movie. But even still, when it was released, many Native Americans considered the movie to be offensive.
Yeah, because I think, because it was very apologetic to colonialism, and saying, oh, both sides were, they pretty much pulled a Trump, and they were like, hey, both sides are bad in this equation.
There's fine people on both sides.
Yeah. And that could be utterly offensive, and the whole song "Savages" that just takes the cake. So while that is bad, I think Moana is something I think that is perfectly fine because it's paying respect to a lot of the culture. It is paying
I think there's also, and by the way, I'm not, don't take the impression that I'm, that I feel different than you do. I'm just throwing this out there for a discussion point for what this movie is.
I know you don't. I'm just speaking about the.
Do you think we, as people who are not Pacific Islanders, are the people you go to verify if or not this was offensive? Can we speak on behalf of Pacific Islanders? I would assume a lot of them did like him, but maybe some of them still were like, this is the Disney version of it.
Well, as somebody with the Pacific Islander background, I could fully stand by this, and I say that this is very respectful, and I think Clemens and Musker did a good job trying to stay faithful to the ways of life, the history, the mythos that goes behind Maui, and I think that is a really good. It's not cynical, at all.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just paying homage and respect to it.
Well, I did see the behind the scenes look at it, and I know that a lot of the stuff that we saw on the island, the basket weaving, the coconuts, the all of that, the tattoos, all that was real. And one of the most authentic things to have captured from the culture that they were looking at from the islands is that how much they revere the ocean itself. And
Mhm.
they do that by making the ocean a character in the movie.
I think given into like the hands of lesser filmmakers, I think this could have easily been a Pocahontas situation.
Mm-hmm.
The sand and the hair, that looks like actual sand and hair.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Again, we could gush about the animation forever.
And we will. We still got a lot of time before this is over. I just love the touch of the water, from it being like crystal clear in the shallow reef area, and then the darker, depths of the ocean. Um,
I love
fucking chicken. That
the fucking chick. Alan Tudyk, everyone.
that one didn't get old on me. I never felt like that was a gag that was getting old. That was pretty funny all throughout. Just like
What,
everyone,
hey?
yeah, it's just like constant, cutaways to people just beyond stupefied how dumb this chicken was.
Yeah. It's very interesting as an animal sidekick. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, everybody. And I would call him Maui, but he's not Maui. He's just Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. It's so well cast. God forbid this happen. But translated to live action, you could literally cast Oli'i and The Rock in their roles.
That's how good they are at their characters. But don't anybody seriously consider that's a good idea. And
No,
it kind of already that dismantles the entire concept of live action remakes entirely.
No, it is a horrible, horrible idea. Like god awful.
It's just stupid, lazy, and crappy. Like what's the fucking point? I mean, just like God, now you're getting me fucking started. Like with that fucking Lion King movie. They could have easily just fucking taken the audio from the old movie and just dumped it in the new one.
And insert it. Speaking of dated like humor and jokes and all that, what do you think about this joke in particular?
What, the tweeting?
Yeah.
I'm not crazy about it, but I'm also I don't know, I guess what's the word? Indifferent? It works.
A lot of people point out to that, like, this is the most DreamWorks joke that Disney could make. Say is thank you. The music is so damn charming.
Yeah.
I see what's happening, yeah. Great blend of 2D.
Oh yeah. For how little you get of it. In any Disney movie the last 10 years.
Also,
shout out to Winnie the Pooh for crushing 2D animation.
That's not fair.
I know. I know.
Especially because nobody went to go see it.
Winnie the Pooh has never been a box office draw. Never.
Son, okay, you're welcome. No ordinary demi guy. A lot of people complain, much like in the vein of Russell Crowe's Javert, and in terms of like singing, but I think Dwayne's singing is actually good. Not the greatest, obviously, or great, but I think it's good. He's on key. He's on tempo.
I don't understand what it is with people having to really. I don't know, man. Like, yeah, they're not the best singers, but like, I mean, at no point in any of the previous times that I'd seen this sequence did I think, man, Dwayne can't sing. I'm like, What the fuck? Like, I mean, I
I mean, it's obvious he can.
yeah. So
I don't know.
why people need to. I mean, if you want to talk about people who can't sing, go look at Cats. I mean, there are
But
people
there,
who sing great in the movie, but there are some people who just I mean, Ian
like
McKellen.
Rita Wilson. But it's okay.
Rita?
They're all
Wait,
beautiful ghosts.
You mean Rebel Wilson?
What did I say?
You said Rita Wilson.
Rita Wilson? Oh, shit. Sorry, Mrs. Hanks. Sorry, Mrs. Hanks. You can't sing. You can definitely sing. Great country stuff you're putting out there. I heard some of it.
Ali E is amazing.
She is amazing. I love the fact that they actually casted somebody within the age group
Uh-huh.
of the character in question. The freaking chicken.
Did people have a problem with that too when he broke the fourth wall?
I don't. People. Film Twitter needs to die.
It's getting there. It was funny when you talk about film Twitter. Did you see that thing going around a few weeks ago when somebody was like, they took a clip from Family Guy and like, this is exactly what film Twitter is. Is this?
Yeah.
You saw that one where Peter Griffin
Where
is
Peter
like,
and everybody like that. I think the house is flooding, and he's like, "Before we die, I want you to know, I didn't care for The Godfather." What? I just didn't care for it. And then they just continued on this whole discussion of like Robert De Niro.
it insists upon itself is the reason he gave for not liking The Godfather. That's film Twitter in a nutshell.
It insists upon what? It's funny. Like Family Guy has its moments. I'll give him that.
Yeah, I know it's like popular to hate Family Guy these days. I still love it. At least I love when I watched it. I don't watch it anymore, but when I did, I really liked it.
Simpsons have done a really Simpsons and Family Guy really did a switcheroo in terms of quality.
Weren't you the person that said that you don't even watch The Simpsons after the movie because it was shit?
Yeah, like it I don't know. It was too self-aware. It was obnoxious having like.
I'm confused here. I thought you were saying that The Simpsons improved in quality, where Family Guy went down in quality.
No, they did the switcheroo where like older Simpsons is great and older Family Guy is crap, but like newer Family Guy is good, and a newer Simpsons is crap. You know what I mean?
What's considered new Family Guy?
Okay, I'll give it past 2015, 2014. New Family Guy.
Okay. That's the first I've heard anybody say that. You must have not liked Family Guy at all then, because the early years is the one that everybody loved. Like, I think it was season 5 of Family Guy that got an Emmy nomination for Best Comedy Series. You must have not liked those years, but those are the ones that I watched. I haven't seen Family Guy since 2012.
Again, I speak for myself. In these.
Yeah, I'm just wanting to clarify that though. Clarify because I most opinions that I've heard have not been like that. I'm not saying that's not the right opinion. I'm just because I was confused with what you were saying before. So here are the Mad Max coconuts.
The Mad Max coconuts. I wonder if Oh, fun fact. The early draft of this movie was written by you know who?
Taika Waititi.
Taika Waititi. It was the family dynamic was completely different in that draft. It was Moana and her brothers, and there was supposed to be like there was supposed to say something about gender and all that stuff, and just like I guess like the typical associations with like male female dynamics was supposed to be a thing, and they were all supposed to go on this trek to find Maui, but it was gonna kind of be like a Last Jedi situation where like don't look up to your heroes, and it was gonna be like something completely weird like that. When somebody talked to him, Taika Waititi, about it, he said that, jokingly, of course, he said that nothing remained of my script except exterior, ocean, day.
It's fine. He didn't need this movie.
No, because at the time he was focused on his children growing up and what we do in the shadows. And if we got what we do in the shadows out of it, then so be it.
Great movie.
Great movie, yeah.
We could do a commentary on that movie too, if you want.
What we do in the shadows? Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah. That sounds like a lot of fun, actually.
Freaking chicken. Replace Moana with freaking chicken. I forgot what I was gonna say.
Wow.
uh
You're semi-speechless.
I'm speechless.
Oh, don't mention that. Ugh.
Okay, the first part of that song, Speechless, was good. The second part was ultra cringe. Hashtag girl is boss.
She's a great singer, but it was
Okay, this scene. Why are these coconuts alive? How are they alive? What are they doing? We don't know. It happened.
And he falls over.
Do you hear what Epcot is doing with Moana?
No.
They're making an attraction where it's kind of like living with the land or something like that, but it's more like the ocean, and they're just,
I mean, they were, but
well, obviously without the elephant in the room. But yeah, you got to learn about ocean conservation, and I think that was really neat. That's a nice design.
The ship?
The big old ship, yeah.
Yeah. The one that just sank?
Yep.
I do like, though, the dynamic between Moana and Maui. I was surprised to hear, like, you guys say when we were walking out of the theater that you were glad that they didn't do the whole, like, romantic thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, like, I understand how you could, like, expect it because it's Disney, but that would be super fucking weird if it was a romantic relationship. Because this is not what was, like, being built up at all. This is more like a brother-sister kind of, like, relationship here going on.
I know, but but starting off not knowing what the root of that dynamic is going, it's easy to insinuate that. And like this is a far better dynamic, right?
I agree with you. I didn't think they would do that, if only because, I mean, he's like really older, and like if you think about it, it's like, imagine
it didn't stop Twilight.
It's like it'd be like Dwayne Johnson dating Ali Carvalho. Now, doesn't that just make you want to cringe?
That is gross. But again, here's the double standard of that. Why are people okay with Bella and Edward?
Who?
Exactly.
The Twilight people?
The Twilight people.
Well, because Robert Pattinson's hot and he's young. And like Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson were like, they didn't look like, I don't know, 5 years apart. That's why, everybody likes that.
I know, but like giving the preconceived notion of Disney and their history, they could have done that. And I'm glad they did it.
That would have been a disaster.
Yeah.
That would have been a fucking disaster.
And instead we got a really good like brother sister dynamic that is missing, I think. Because usually it's like the cliche thing to do to make the two leads, which are both of opposite sexes, to be romantically linked.
True. That's what Disney is most known for. But in recent movies, that hasn't been happening as much. Look at Zootopia and Wreck-It Ralph.
Wreck-It Ralph and all that stuff. But then again, this is a Disney princess movie, and Wreck-It Ralph and Zootopia weren't necessarily Disney princess movies.
Yeah.
Anyway, that inserted a whole bunch of freaking Disney debate.
Why?
Just the qualifications of being a Disney princess.
I'm not gonna touch that. That's just a very annoying and really kind of impossible conversation to have. Go listen to our Disney princess movies discussion there. That's all it is about the official Disney princess. Well, I mean, technically speaking, Moana isn't the first Disney princess to not have a romantic relationship. There is Brave.
But the difference is that her mother is a bear.
I'm not Peter. I'm not gonna play along with that shit.
Potty humor
done well,
done competently, works.
It's just funny.
Like when Scooby and Shaggy were having a farting contest in James Gunn's Scooby-Doo.
Now, for a lot of people,
high art.
That crosses the line. A lot of people would find that to be the reason why they hate that movie.
Make way,
oh no,
make way.
Movie's over.
She failed. The end.
I guess that's how far she went.
Yep. All the way to the credits.
Mm-hmm. I've been having a hankering to revisit Zootopia. I hadn't seen it in years. Again, to kind of think of it, I've rewatched Moana a lot more times than I've rewatched Zootopia. And that's not me. And that's like my subtle way of like of bringing up the fact that this is like one of the best Disney princess movies in my view, and I think you agree as well. And it didn't win Best Animated Feature. And it's not like it lost to a Pixar movie. It lost to another Disney movie.
And that made me, oh my god. Like, okay, like, I get it, Zootopia, race, and all that stuff, but I think like this is the most. If you're getting down to the root of what, like, the whole race thing is, it's more of a lack of empathy.
If I
And
recall, you gave Zootopia a very positive review. I don't know where this disgusting hatred is coming from. Are you a racist?
no, I am not a racist.
Because it kind of sounds like you are. Because you're basically saying that the reason why the movie gets all the hype is because it was about discrimination. It was about the villainization of the other. But like that was the message of the film. But I really love Judy Hopps. I mean, there was something about that movie that had like it wasn't just like the best picture, I'm sorry, best animated feature, you know. Yeah, the message is what made it win cuz clearly but that also shouldn't discount. I love this right here where he says like if you're going to sing, I'm going to throw up. Um are you there, Kyle?
Yeah.
Okay. I love how dramatic it gets here, and then like it cuts to him, and he's like, but Zootopia did make a lot of money.
It just didn't.
Like Zootopia made over $1 billion worldwide. That's an original animated movie. Not too many of those get to that point.
Why didn't this one make a lot of money then? Did people not care about it? And if so, that really hurts.
It's not true though, man. Like
That I don't know what else is.
The box office isn't everything. It's just one measure. It's to measure success, right? But I do think that Moana is, I think it's more popular than Zootopia as far as the Disney fan community is concerned. I think there's much more love for the story, and I think it is because it does harken to what most people associate Disney movies to be, especially the musicals, the Disney princess movies. It has that. As far as like the box office is concerned, I can't really tell you what happened. I mean, that's not to suggest that the movie was like a flop or a bomb or a miss. It made money. It was profitable, but it just wasn't a hit in the way that a lot of other Disney movies and Pixar movies were. And I think that maybe is a bit unfair comparing it to that, because if you look at that same year, Zootopia and Finding Dory made $1 billion individually.
I mean, was everybody saving their money for Rogue One?
Well, there was Rogue One. Remember, La La Land was actually a pretty big box office hit that came out at the end of that year. I can't really tell you unless maybe, to me,
people just didn't care.
Well, I don't know. I mean, because usually those weekends are successful for Disney. When it comes to Tangled and Frozen, those movies did very well with it. I don't know. To me, like, it could just be as simple as Moana just feels like a summer movie because of the setting that it's in. And so I've always felt that if this was released in the summer, it'd be a bigger hit.
What if the dates for Zootopia and Moana were switched?
November is interesting. Maybe. I don't know. I can't be sure about that. Because ultimately, Zootopia was not expected to make that much money. And maybe in November there is some kind of a limitation, because there's a lot of movies that come out around that time, much more competition, I guess you could say.
Oh,
I don't know.
one of my favorite Disney sequences is coming up.
Mm,
Um, I don't know. It's either I'm not paying attention to Disney culture because I'm not getting that reading at all. It's just like whenever Moana is brought up, everybody's like, "Oh yeah, I remember Moana and all this stuff. It was a really good movie," and then the conversation ends there.
who uh, have you had these experiences?
Yeah, I mean, it's like whenever it's brought up and like whatever I'm watching, whatever podcast and all that stuff I'm listening to, whenever Moana is brought up, it's just that's pretty much like the only bit it gets. Just like, oh yeah, it was a good movie, and then just like that, then like no over resounding like, oh, the way Zootopia transformed the language barrier of film, and or oh, look at this, look at Frozen, look at the impact it had, look at all the money it brought in. And then there's Moana. It was a good movie. Jermaine Clement, the drab little crab once.
You're the only one that actually liked this song
It's so
in our group. I mean,
it's so funky and different. I loved it. I love it. The words tear argument apart. If David Bowie did a Disney song, this would be it.
if who did a Disney song? David Bowie. He's dead.
I know, but if he did, that's why he said if.
Oh,
First thing that glitters, fish did us. It's also unintentionally funny. I don't know if it's because it's like the way Jermaine Clement like freaking talks and like his sarcasm.
it could be.
Easter eggs. I'm in trouble with this look. Also, it sets up some backstory for Maui that I think is really tastefully done. Again, this is where like musicals like telling a story through song.
Mm-hmm.
Shiny. My shell's too tough. Maui man. Decapod. Look it up. Like that. It's unintentionally funny. Also visually. Do you think this is a villain song or do you think this is something else?
Moana doesn't really have a villain. It's the closest it gets to a villain song. If anything, I think most people would consider this to be a sideshow. I mean, it is integral to the plot for Maui's character, but like, Tamatoa is he's just kind of there. I mean, do you think it's a full-on villain song?
I mean, it could be. I mean, this is Maui's villain. The Tafiti.
That was funny.
Oh, this line.
Oh my god.
Did you like the song? Again, fourth wall breaks, but they work. This image.
It is disturbing.
But not in like the cat's disturbing way. Oh, by the way, speaking of cats, did you see Lindsay Ellis's cats video?
No.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so she was diving into like the history of like trying to get this movie made.
Mm-hmm.
And originally Don Bluth, the guy who made the Land Before Time movies and
Mm-hmm.
American Tail,
Mm-hmm.
was trying to get this movie up and running, and it was supposed to be animated. And she showed like the character designs, the original character designs, and honestly, like it looked amazing. And I think like Cats was the only way to translate that movie was animation.
Well, I mean, let's not even have that conversation. That's just
We'll get to
a
it when
lot.
we do our
That's a
eventual
lot.
audio commentary. Uh the tattoos. The grading, the color grading for the tattoos, I think is really good too. Like they actually look like legit tattoos. Maui's personality is very much like a 16-year-old edge lord.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
If only that was real.
Yeah. Instead of drowning, I don't think that's fun for anybody.
No.
Um, yeah. Also, I think the pacing of this movie is really, really well too. I mean, we're already at that hour 8 mark. We only got a quarter of a movie left to go. Lee, I think her voice work is like really pristine. And this is her first role.
I think in most examples of these movies, there's really not many that I can think of that just weren't perfectly cast, you know?
Mm-hmm. Like at first, he starts off as Dwayne the Rock Johnson, but as it goes on, you could really like it really captures and he really sinks into his role as Maui. Was that pun intended? I don't know. Good shit. How are you, Alexis? How are you
How did
holding
your
up?
sisters like this movie?
Well, if you look on my personal Instagram, my little sister Erica Lira, she stood on top of the sofa, uh, while the karaoke. Well, I think it was the karaoke version of "How Far I'll Go" was playing, and she put on her grass skirt.
She has one of those?
Yeah, and she started singing this "How Far I'll Go." I, me and my little sister Sophia were laughing out loud. Um, they really liked it. They really loved it. Um, it like we're Filipino, but like the cultural similarities uh between Maori culture and Filipino culture is similar. Especially because like the region we are, like, it is a very Pacific Island thing, and so it kind of meant something for us to see like this culture represented in a Disney film.
Yeah.
That's why when Black Panther was like all the rage and everything like that, I couldn't fault anybody for it, because that would be kind of cool for, you know, for that representation of it. But I think that it was cool, like, and it was Disney. It was a Disney, like, because it's one thing to like have representation in a Disney movie. It's another thing to like have it like amongst the greats, like Mulan, Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid, and to have that kind of like be boosted along with this, I think is really particularly great and key. Brother or sister. She's really coming into her own. Like, this is good stuff.
It also helps you have some wonderful music to accompany it.
Yeah. I hold on. Let me look up the guy's name.
Well, the action adventure stuff in the film is also, it might be a bit underrated. I think they do some great stuff with the action sequences.
Yeah, it's very fluid, very organic, I think. Like the way it positions itself into the stories and all that stuff. Okay, music by. Oh, okay, I'm gonna butcher the name wrong, so I am sorry for this particular artist. Um, Opataya Voy.
I don't even know why you bothered, Kyle. I really don't.
You did good. You did good. Along with Lin-Manuel Miranda and Mark Mancina. Which, for those who know, he did like Tarzan and Brother Bear and all those different movies. He's a frequent collaborator with Hans Zimmer.
Mm-hmm.
He also did the music for The Haunted Mansion, the movie. Which, by the way, like, I can't wait for October because I want to revisit that movie and I want to talk about it with you guys. Also, I like how like integral like and important this was for Pacific Islanders specifically. I mean, when this movie premiered in Hawaii, Oli Carvalho's dance crew, and it's they did Samoan dances for the premiere.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they made it a big ol' celebration. This was Musker and Clemens' last film, right? As director?
Right. Well, it was John Musker who retired after this. This is the last movie with them together. I think Ron Clements is still working for Disney Animation.
Mm. You know, around the world, she isn't known as Moana, right?
What is she known as?
Oceana, or Viana, which both means like ocean, like three translate. The reason why, is because, in Europe, there is an adult film star with the name Moana.
Well, that's unfortunate.
It is very unfortunate.
That was rude.
That was rude.
Oh, that's pretty fucked up. The ocean told you were special and you believed it.
I mean,
That's mean.
I mean, if the ocean told me I was special, I'd believe it too. I mean, how often does like the ocean talk to you? I mean, that would be pretty special, right?
Have you ever been told you were special, Kyle?
No. Well,
Your response is like, no.
what?
You've never been told you were special.
Okay, I've been told I was special, but not in the kind way.
What? What do you mean not in the kind way? Like in like, oh, so you're saying not only have you not been told you were special, you've actually been insulted about being special.
Yeah.
Kyle, I have this question.
What?
Why do a lot of people just fuck with you for a laugh? Do you get the impression like a lot of people have just, I don't know, played with you?
Mm-hmm. All the time, man. Oh, this is fucking hell. This is where Disney works its magic. Moana,
This is the Coco crossover.
Sure.
It's the Coco crossover. She just crossed the Marigold Bridge.
I was gonna
the
say
underwater Marigold Bridge.
Yeah. Or she was gonna tell her to go to the Dagobah system to meet Yoda. Remember who you are. You are my granddaughter.
Empress Palpatine.
Welcome, granddaughter. So fucking lame. I'm holding it back. I'm holding it back. It is very difficult.
Yeah?
It is very difficult. who you are. Oh my god, here I go.
Oh, Jesus. No, I think this is an example. It's just how beautiful the movie is.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like emotionally, spiritually, and everything like that. I think this really works.
Although it was interesting to bring up that Lindsay Ellis video. The similarities between this and Pocahontas.
Oh, of her and her grandmother as well.
That's one of them. Well, the same thing. With the weird thing is that there is like the same line that's used, where the father says to the daughter, "This suits you." You remember that?
I think so. It's
Oh
been
my
a
God.
while
Her
since
voice
I've seen
is
Pocahontas.
amazing. Her voice
Yeah.
is just great. She's like 16 in this, right?
She was 14 when she recorded this.
Wow.
She's now 19, I think. Time has passed. I am Moana. You fucking go, Lee. Fuck him up. You grab that rock.
She got it.
Dun 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 dun. Moana. I feel empowered.
Well, you should. The movie is doing its job then.
I feel like I'm on this journey with her. It's all cloudy and dark. Oh, look, it's the Los Angeles skyline.
Oh, that was the Los Angeles skyline from 2019, not 2020.
Yeah, apparently it's really clear up now.
I wonder why.
Earth is healing. Wonder how many times that joke's been told.
Too many, probably.
Maybe. I made it interesting again.
That's giving yourself way too much credit.
I'm telling a joke, you see. It's called sarcasm. The lava monster, the fire. I'm told these two elements are the hardest to animate: fire and water, and they do this movie quite spectacularly. The freaking chicken coming in clutch.
I know, right? For a change.
Yeah. Turns out Taka is Tafiti. Oh, but you're not supposed to know that yet. Spoilers.
Here comes Maui.
Sam, the Eagles. Oh, he said the thing. Well, then. At this point, Alexis Soto wants to off himself.
Why?
I made a joke. I made a horrible pun.
Couldn't you have just sailed the other direction and just avoided that island altogether? Oh wait, no, it's all enclosed. Okay, I see.
Gotta get to the. You see, you gotta get to the spiral.
Yeah.
Ah, hooked on a feeling. That hook is kaput. Shaped like a woman. Because that is Te Fiti.
This is your warning right now for those listening. Kyle's about to cry again in this next sequence. Because it is one of the best sequences, I think, in any Disney movie. Yeah. There was just something so grand about her walking toward Te Fiti as the ocean parts ways, and of course with the whole music setting in. It is, to me, like the most memorable sequence in the film.
Probably Disney. Like she didn't have to fight. It was just all understanding. Freaking Moses shit.
Mm-hmm. That is just epic.
Here we go.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Kyle, what is it? Why does this make you cry again?
It's just the art of like humility, empathy, understanding. It's beautiful. So good. Pardon me. Mother Nature is healing. That anime. God. Yes, give me. Give me, give me, give me, give me. The fucking chicken.
Yep, the chicken lives. Because in this movie, chicken lives matter.
Wow. A new hook. Again, 16-year-old edgelord who pretends he didn't cry watching Bambi's mom die.
Yeah, it is something really special, though. It's the whole culmination of this film. You know, the great evil that was assumed to be the great evil actually was not, and it took, just a simple act of kindness and compassion to win the day. Yeah,
That's what's so beautiful. It's not
yeah.
like it's not Prince Philip going against the big dragon Maleficent. It's not like
And killing it.
and killing it. It's not, it's not Simba going after Scar. It's not like, it's nothing like that. It's just the simple art of understanding and empathy that I think that makes this movie like emotionally strong. Aw. This is great.
Mm-hmm. Love the score, too.
And now she's going back, and now everything is growing back. It's kind of like love. Love wins.
One of the, I know I just mentioned it right now, but one of the really, I know the music is great, and then all the other stuff that we complimented, the animation and of course the voice acting, but the score is also pretty amazing. Like that little motif that just played right now really made you just feel like you're there on the island and the life coming back to it.
I think Mark Mancina did a really good job.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Hey gets a few laughs out of me. They're going back out to the ocean. This is a big ship.
Yeah.
Full circle. And beyond the reef.
Here we are.
Away. Our course to find. She's fully at one with herself. I think that's great. I sound like a broken record, but like,
Well, it's like, to me, one of the reasons why I do connect with Moana is that she just has something, this mysterious thing in the ocean that calls to her, and her being out there makes her feel alive. Like, to me, there's nothing more so that gets me in tune with nature and the planet than being around the water. Even though it is filled with some of the most terrifying creatures ever known to man, including those fucking killer whales that are
and the
horrifying
yeah,
creatures.
and the fact that 75% of the world's oceans have yet to be discovered.
It's actually 95.
Okay, 95. Okay, I was being generous with my percentage.
It was scarier than that. It's 95%.
And I honestly, like, that lends itself to like something mythical, and like, because it's like the unknown, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that makes it more mysterious, a lot more deep and profound. But yeah, final thoughts on Moana?
None.
Okay.
It's great. It's a great movie. To me, I personally don't agree with your assessment that it's been forgotten or that it's not. In my experience, this film is beloved, more so than Frozen. And even while the box office dollars don't represent that, I think the fact that it is getting some sort of show attraction in a lot of the Disney parks should show, I think, us that Disney does value the property. But even so much as like rumors of a rumored sequel in development, Disney Animation. So, generally speaking, movies that aren't successful don't get a sequel. No, but I think the character is great. I think people love her, and the story was just wonderfully executed by John Musker and Ron Clements. I love those two. I love every one of their movies. I can't think of like a pair of directors that have had a consistent run in terms of like animated directors that just make animated movies. Mm-hmm. It's just so good. Alicia Carr, everybody.
So what you're saying is that, you know, you don't find this movie underrated, you don't find it overrated, you just find it rated.
I'm not saying that there may be some crowds of people that don't appreciate this movie as much as the rest of us, mm-hmm. but I also don't think that it's overly underappreciated among other movies.
But it does. I think my problem is that this movie gets lost in the conversation a little bit. Like it is recognized, but it does tend to get lost in the conversation when mentioning the greats. I think like within the Disney community, that it's gaining more traction over the years. But I think that in terms of like the film community, like when the film community mentions Disney, they're like, oh, Beauty and the Beast, Lion King. Like I think Moana, and you know, should be up there in that conversation. And I think that it hurts that it's just gonna be like it's gonna have that traction with its community, which is the Disney community, but I don't think that it's gonna be anything more than that. You know, and I think that's what hurts me a little bit. And I think that's why I'm like disappointed with how, like, you know, how the reception is over the years, because it is just very static other than those who are like in the know with Disney. But I think that this movie should be excelled in like with the greats that was, you know, along with, you know, Princess and the Frog and all that stuff. But I think that this movie, you know, is really special. And I think that in terms of like the casual film film community, I think that this is often overlooked. And then here we have Lin-Manuel Miranda rapping. I don't know. Anyway, did you like what you heard here? And if you did, you could check it out. You could check us out everywhere you listen to podcasts. Without further ado, I am Kyle Lira. With me is Alexis Soto. Any announcements you want to make before I close this off?
We have a lot of content, a lot of audio commentaries, a lot of podcasts. Go check it out anywhere you listen to podcasts. That's it.
Ditto. As always, everyone, stay magical.